Five-ish fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the five-ish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the five-ish. I am the Sixth Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode number 79 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And I don't know about you, but I feel like a beacon of justice. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We're all here again.
Yay!
Brittany wasn't going anywhere. She snowed in.
Yeah, kind of stuck.
Yeah.
You haven't figured out by
She took one
now.
look out the window and was like, nope.
Yeah. Thankfully, her power has stayed on.
Yeah, which I was surprised about. Like I was kind of like, quite a few people around lost power, but I didn't. So
Let us not tempt fate.
No.
Big round of applause to the power company.
Woo! Go New Jersey Power
Yeah.
thing. Whatever it's called. Anyway.
I don't even know what the power thing is when it's supposed to, which is sad.
You
As
don't
long
need
as
to
it
know
works,
for
it doesn't matter what it's called.
Exactly.
As long as it works and keep up with the bills.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, well, we hope all of our listeners who are in snowy areas are staying warm and staying safe. So,
And staying dry because a lot of the coastal was flooded because of the snow.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that too.
It was a full moon this weekend, so it was high tide.
Yeah, yes.
Double
everything-
whammy.
Yep.
Everything went nuts.
Yep.
Anyway, but we will try to keep you informed and entertained as much as possible while you're digging yourself out
Yeah.
of the storm. And I guess we'll get started with news. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got quite a bit of news since we skipped last week talking news. But there've been a big chunk of convention guest announcements, and I'm going to start off with my hometown convention, Salt Lake Comic-Con Fan X, which is the end of March. I'm still very excited. Anyway, there've been so the announcements that have been out for that are Mitch Pileggi from X-Files and Supernatural, Alan Tudyk from Firefly, Serenity, and he's done a bunch of voice acting for Disney. So yay! And one that I am very excited about because she had to cancel last Comic-Con in September is Alex Kingston has been announced as a guest, which she had to miss last time because she was filming the Doctor Who Christmas special. So I'm glad they found a way to get her back for Fan X. So yay! And now I have to choose. Well, I'm definitely getting Peter Davison's autograph, but am I gonna have enough to go get Alex Kingston's as well? I'm gonna have to figure this out, but it's a good problem to have. If nothing else, I can try to make it to her panel. So, anyway, yay for that. And then there's also more convention announcements. Time Eddie, which is where that's in Wichita or Topeka. It's in Kansas near
It's Wichita. Yeah.
Wichita. Okay. There's a lot of places in Kansas that the Vortex boys go to, and I can't keep them all straight.
Yeah,
So
well, and
I've never
occasionally
been to Kansas.
they reach over into Nebraska over to Omaha. So
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, Time Eddie is local to them. Anyway, they have announced, and there's just a Doctor Who convention a la Gallifrey, a little smaller, but it's like Gallifrey. And but they have also announced Peter Davison is going to be there, and also John Peel, who is a Target novelization writer. So if you're in the Wichita area and going to Time Eddie 2, yay, you get the Fifth Doctor. And then this next one is Lexington Toy and Comic Expo, and that one's close to you, Rachel, right?
yeah, that's the one I'm going to. That's in March.
That's when you're going to. Okay, it's in March.
Yep.
They have announced Karen Gillan is going to be at that event. So, yay, Rachel, are you gonna try to get a bumper from her?
I don't. No.
Might not be.
That's dangerous.
It'd be like trying to get one from Jenna Coleman.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, no.
Like,
Would be cool, but maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, as excited as I am because of the, my doctor is going to be at this convention, but Karen is also very exciting, especially considering I don't need to get an autograph from Peter, Colin, or Sylvester, so that money can go towards getting Karen's autograph.
Which is probably not going to be very cheap, let's be honest.
No.
But anyway, yay, you get to meet Karen, and I'm excited for you.
I expect Karen to be in the same bracket as Jenna, so.
Yeah, I bet you're right. Oh, did we ever announce Arthur Darvill for FanX? Because I think he...
so.
Wait, maybe I'm wrong. Never mind, I'm lying. Arthur Darvill's not coming. Sorry. He's the other one that canceled, but he has not been rescheduled for FanX. So far as I know, I don't know why that popped into my brain. Never mind. Forget I said anything. I'm not spreading rumors.
But you never know.
In my defense, I have wedding brain right now. So
she's ready to go on vacation.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this to be over. Anyway, finishing this bit of news. Planet Comic-Con, another
Vortex Boys
convention, and I've actually met Kurt, who is a friend of the Vortex Boys, who helps run Planet Comic-Con. Really awesome guy. So hi, Kirk, if you're listening. And I'm Facebook friends with him, and he was teasing a few things about like secret meetings for Comic-Con. I'm like, for Planet Comic-Con, I was like, ooh, what are you guys doing? Well, they have made a really big announcement. This is a coup.
Yeah.
They're getting Stan Lee.
Oh, I'm so jealous. So jealous.
Yes, of Marvel Comics.
I would love to meet Stan Lee.
He's been to the Salt Lake Comic Cons twice. He came to the very first one. He was an 11th hour. Actually, it was more like 11:59 hour announcement the night before.
We have an announcement. He's walking through the door.
It's like his plane just landed, and he is. Well, no,
he just got his luggage.
Like, what? So anyway, yeah. So Stan Lee. So that's out in Kansas City. So. All y'all going to Planet Comic-Con, go meet Stan Lee, because dude, that's someone to go meet, and he is. He's a hoot. He is. I've never actually got to sit in on his panels just because, they're popular. Let's just say. Yeah. Well, that's an understatement.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Go listen to the interviews with Stan Lee from the Nerdist podcast. Your sides will hurt from laughing. The man is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
So I have to give props to Planet Comic-Con. You got Stan Lee. Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a big get.
Yes, it is. Very much so. So anyway, that's all the convention news I have. There's probably more coming from various sides, and if you've been keeping an eye on Stephen Amell or John Barrowman's social media, they've been having a blast out at Hero and Villains Fan Fest with it everything being snowed in and snowed out. And
I did see if anyone was planning on going Saturday because it was canceled. Well, obviously it's too late today for now, but they were honoring tickets for today, and then they're planning on rescheduling. And keep an eye on that.
So if you couldn't make it...
So they're going to reschedule basically the whole con, or...
I guess so.
That's what I was getting at. I'm not sure, but that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, I mean, the weather is one thing you just cannot plan for, no matter what you do. So, they kind of have to work with that, and I'm sure they will. Yeah.
And odds are that Steven and John had so much fun, they'll probably come back when they reschedule it if it works for their schedule. Those two. John Barrowman by himself is a force to be reckoned with out in public, but get him teamed up with Stephen Amell, and it's like a hurricane mixed with a tornado.
Well, I was watching the video of them singing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" And Steven was the one that was singing the most. Like I would have thought John Barrowman would be doing it. 'Cause we all know John can sing, but Stephen Amell, he does. He's got a pretty good singing voice. I mean, he held his own, so I was impressed. I didn't know he could sing. I know he couldn't dance, but I know he could sing. Now I know I didn't know he could sing.
And played the piano, apparently.
And play the piano. He was quite good. I rather enjoyed that.
Maybe John's been giving him lessons.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yes.
Anyway.
Speaking of schedules getting rearranged, dig out your calendar and start making some changes to the movie release schedules. Star Wars Episode 8 release date gets moved. The Disney Studios announced that Star Wars Episode 8, the direct sequel to the film and second part of the planned trilogy, will release on December 15th of 2017. Change date originally scheduled for May 26, 2017, which would have put Star Wars back to its traditional late May release schedule. It will continue to be home to an annual Marvel Studios release with Captain America Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Avengers Infinity War scheduled for the next 3 first May weekends. Disney also announced that they're moving Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales from its July 2017 release into the May 26, 2017 slot they have just opened. So,
which makes sense.
Ahead. Yep.
So, it's fine by me. So. Chauncey wasn't happy about it, but he'll get over it.
Now, it shows how much I pay attention that I saw this news had come out. I'm like, wait, it wasn't in December already? So, anyway.
It was originally in May when...
Yeah, I know, but the headlines were all like, it's been moved back to December, and I was like, okay.
They might as well let the Marvel movies have the summer. Star Wars can be winter, especially now that Avatar has been pushed out again.
I don't care about that one.
Definitely, I know. I didn't bother to put it in our news just because like none of us really care about Avatar. But I read the article and I'm like, Cameron saw one movie get trampled on, and Avatar is getting trampled on by Star Wars. He's shaking in his boots. He's like, how far can I push this out so there's no more Star Wars coming? At this rate, we're not going to get another Avatar until like 2025 or something. Which is fine. I thought that was funny. Like, yeah, you go ahead. I'm all for it. Especially considering there's not a lot of usual blockbusters released in December, so.
Well, and I will say, I
don't think we could handle the feels either of a Marvel movie and Star Wars in the same month.
Yeah. You know what? I kind of liked it this year, having Star Wars in December, like over Christmas and stuff, because that's when, people kind of have work off and school's out and some things that you've got time to go and just enjoy it. Where in the summertime, and I love summertime blockbuster stuff. Don't get me wrong, but there's like so many of them, and you get like this year it was like Avengers, then we had Ant-Man, and we had
Star Wars.
Inside Out. Yeah,
it was almost like every other weekend you were
at the movie theater.
You didn't really get to enjoy and process. It wasn't like an event. Whereas this, and maybe this Star Wars was like, oh, it's the first one in so many years. Then you're all like, oh wow, it was like it wasn't just a movie. It was like a national holiday almost.
Kind of felt like it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I could enjoy it being in Christmas, like, and the movies that come out around Christmas. Yeah, there are a few like big ones that come out, but mostly it's like Oscar stuff that's really boring and pretentious and self-absorbed, which is like, it's not a great time to go to the movies, which is a shame because I like going to the movies all the time.
Yeah. Because we're all watching Star Wars. Next thing you know, the Oscar nominations are out, and it's like all these movies. And I'm like, what movie was that? Like,
And I'm like, didn't hear that one, didn't hear that one, didn't hear that.
Like,
The Martian, I like
that's
one.
what was
No,
playing
no.
when I was going to see Star Wars for the 50th time. Okay.
Yeah, that was that artsy movie that all the hipsters were down there going, oh, Star Wars is just so mainstream. I've got to go watch this other thing, you know. And they're all looking down looking down their noses at all of us in Star Wars t-shirts going, yeah, Star Wars, lightsabers, blasters, pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. Pew, pew. Oh.
That is a high class analysis right there.
Liked it.
Oh, bye. All right. Well, moving on.
Moving on.
Oh. To Big Finish taking more of our money.
If they keep giving me stuff I like, I'll happily give it to them.
It's just one of those things. I'm just prepared for it. Oh, and we're losing Mitch. Well, Mitch was going to have this piece of news, but Skype is saying otherwise.
Skype.
Okay, well, I'll do it for her.
Nice.
We'll do it for her. Anyway, Big Fish. Not that we didn't know that there, more, because we knew about the War Doctor box sets and all these that were coming out for Big Finish, but now we know that the 4th box set is going to be a story with the War Doctor and Leela,
which is awesome.
I know I was supposed to do this news.
Skype decided otherwise.
Do you want to? Do you want to take the floor here? We just.
No, that's okay.
I just saw the dots and I'm like, oh, she's.
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi went.
No, that's.
Hey, don't apologize. We run into this all the time.
Continue.
No, you're fine. There's really not much to it other than.
Other than that, they're teaming up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is good because Big Finish has that Gallifrey series where it's Romana is the president of Gallifrey and Leela is like her best friend and so then we have the Time War and we're like, well, what happened to Romana and Leela in the Time War? Like and we knew Leela was on Gallifrey anyway because she stayed behind with Andred, but Gallifrey gets into all that. But then it's like, well, yeah, Leela and the War Doctor, let's do it. So They did it, or they are doing it. So. Yay.
Yeah.
And Louise Jameson, she does so much with Big Finish. Not even Doctor Who stuff. Just she's taken to this like a duck to water. It's pretty cool. And this is good news, especially this year, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, really. More on that in a moment.
Right. So before that, if we're done with Finish.
Moving.
Neil Patrick Harris is going to be the new Count Olaf in Netflix's A Series of Unfortunate Events. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Neil Patrick Harris will star in Netflix's A Series of Unfortunate Events. The former How I Met Your Mother star will play Count Olaf, the role Jim Carrey portrayed in 2014 film directed by Brad Silberling and produced by Barry Sonnenfeld, who will be directing a new Netflix series as well. It's being received as a 13-episode straight-to-series order, which I'm assuming because
Netflix
the book series is a 13 books, so I'm guessing each episode is one book.
Perhaps. I think that makes sense. Although
they've been really long episodes.
Have you read these books before? Or?
Yeah, I have.
I have them on my bookshelf, I think. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I read them and I really liked them. Well, the 13th one was kind of weird, but it was hard. It was a hard series.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, well, no, it's a hard series to end. This was kind of my thing.
That is true.
It was just. I really like the style, and I like the way that the story was told, but it's like, how in the world are you going to end this? And it just ended. It's basically what it did. But the Jim Carrey movie, it was like, because they did 3 books in one movie, but they covered 3 books in one movie, and it just did not work very well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun and quirky and kind of Tim Burton-y. But it was like, So I think the TV show is kind of a good way for him to go.
Yeah.
It has to be better than the movie, right? I remember seeing the movie and I'm like, I know this is a children's book series and it's kind of Willy Wonka-esque, but this is just stupid weird.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a fun
Even
book
for Jim
series.
Carrey.
Yeah, I think I want to read it again because it was fun. I haven't read it since high school, but
I've never read the books, but it's on the list.
Yeah. Maybe it's a potential topic of discussion when that comes around. Of course, then I'll say that, and then it'll be like, oh, that's out now. I guess we should talk about it. Does anyone remember it? No.
well, there isn't a date set, so I'm not even sure when it's.
Yeah.
Which means if anyone does want to reread the series,
you've got time.
Like I did, we have time.
Yeah, and they're
sitting and I'm looking at it, the series on my bookshelf, all 13 books, and it's
they're easy.
Books.
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it, yeah. But they're kids' books.
They started getting, especially since they started getting bigger towards the end.
Yeah, like another book series. Harry Potter.
I'm pretty sure book 13 is like twice the size of book 1.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Just eyeballing it now, I think book 13 is twice the size of book 1. So
that tends to happen with kids' novels and young adult novels.
Yeah,
and
they start nice and small, and then they get big. Like, well, let me look at the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, exactly.
Those got huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, book 7 is a brick.
Yeah, I'm looking at my Harry Potter books, and I'm like, little, big.
Like, you can read the first 3 all in one day, and then the rest ones you can only read like 1 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like those first, like in a series, like in books where there's a lot in a series, with something like that. It's like the first couple of ones. It's like, yeah, let's write it and make sure it's good and people get it. And we'll do some character introduction so people get a gist of what's going on. And then they're okay. Well, this is obviously caught on. People are going to keep reading it. Let's get into some meat here.
I've seen the...
It's like a buffet. You start with the salad section, and next thing you know, you're at the carved meat station.
I'm having to resist the urge to start rereading right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get off this.
Let's get on with the rest of it.
Yep.
Then.
Yes.
Moving on to what we were alluding to a second ago and talking about Big Finish. So, unless you've been living under a rock, first off, I said this when I posted it on our page, that I had issues with the way, and I know it's clickbait is what it was, but I take issue with the way that Radio Times headlined the article for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple other sources reporting on the same story, and they don't use the word quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think
standing down.
Yeah. It's like we've known Stephen Moffat was leaving. He's been
honest. We knew he would leave from the day he started.
Well, that too, but he's been saying he's working on finding his replacement, so we knew it was imminent.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later.
I know. It's okay. This is my thing, and I've noticed this about Britain, and I think some of the American press is kind of doing this too. But Britain has this. I don't know how to really explain it, but they're very sensational in the way they cover things, especially in entertainment, especially as it pertains to Doctor Who. I mean, in the United States, you go to the grocery store and you'll see like tabloid articles about, Bigfoot's baby or whatever, or, some celebrity couple is getting divorced, and it's really not true. But, it's so sensationalized. Britain takes that and they turn it up to 11. They just, that's just the way their media, their press works. And it is so obnoxious. And now that my job is in, news and things, and I look at news websites from all over the place, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to like dig my eyeball out with a fork if I have to see one more headline like that. Like, you are just terrible, and your headlines are terrible, and you should feel bad.
Yeah.
But they don't.
No,
but anyway,
yeah. It was well, I don't want to say it was clickbait, because it wasn't anything false. It was just a sensationalized headline, and people were sharing it, and every time I saw it, I'm like, no, why did they have to use the word quit? Because it makes it, you get these images of like out of movies of people like flinging papers up in the air and walking out. Yeah.
Yeah. I quit my job because you suck. No, that's not what's going on.
No, he's
been
moving
there
on.
He's been there since 2010.
Yeah.
And he's done a great job. I've been a fan of him.
Me too.
We've praised his work. He's done a great job with the series. Like, he did an amazing job the 50th anniversary year. He brought us back the 8th Doctor, for crying out loud. And the 50th anniversary special was amazing, and just everything was just wonderful. It gave us a River song, who we like.
And Jack Harkness in the beginning.
Jack Harkness from the beginning, and got Blink, and Silence in Library, Girl in the Fireplace, The Weeping Angels, like, you name it. I mean, was his run perfect? No. Was RTD's run perfect? No. Was even, the great Philip Hinchcliffe, was his run perfect?
Nope.
No. Nobody's is, but they did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I wish Stephen Moffat well. I'm looking forward to seeing what else he does. Sherlock.
Yeah. Which leads us somewhat into the other part of the news. But
Yes.
well, and good luck to his replacement. And I hope the guy's not on social media. And if he is, he should probably get off it now.
Yeah, just don't even, no more. Just cancel your Twitter account. You're done.
Yep.
Just head that off at the pass. Don't
Let's send a message now, dear Chris. Thank you for joining the Doctor Who team. I'm sure you'll do a great job. If you're on Twitter, quit now.
Not that we don't want to hear from you,
No.
but you don't want to be on Twitter. Just don't do it.
Your sanity will thank you.
People are gonna trying to be polite. People just
You're gonna get a lot of trolls.
Even before you start your run.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure there are people like, oh my gosh, he's awful. I don't want him anywhere near it. Oh, and he's like, he hasn't even done anything yet.
No. Well, he was in charge of Broadchurch, which I know has been very well received.
Yes.
So
and it was good.
And there's a post going around on Tumblr of like all the episodes he's done for Doctor Who and Torchwood, and there's some good ones in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did the first one. I remembered when I heard this news. I remember like, oh, he wrote Power of Three. I really liked that one. And and I looked at some of his others. I'm like, okay, yeah, those are decent. And I watched like the half of season 1 of Torchwood before I just found out. I decided it wasn't for me. And I don't remember what episodes he wrote for that, but if he did well on Broadchurch, and so I'm like, okay, let's do something different. Yeah. That's what Doctor Who's about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but in the interim, no Doctor Who until Christmas.
Which, if you're counting, yes, we just had Christmas. That means we have the better part of a year to wait for more Doctor Who.
At least now we know that Stephen Moffat will be fully focused on Sherlock season 4 this spring.
Yep. And you know what? As long as the Sherlock fans have had to wait, I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't begrudge them this. They have been waiting somewhat patiently. Probably some of them have been losing their minds a very long time.
Well,
so
it wasn't the thing with Sherlock. Let me go on a little tangent here. The thing with Sherlock and the reason it's taken so long for us to get a 4th season of Sherlock is not entirely on Stephen Moffat's shoulders. So many people are like, well, Stephen Moffat's taken on too much trying to do Doctor Who and Sherlock at the same time. No, Benedict Cumberbatch's star has risen astronomically, and he is being put in everything.
Yep.
Yes.
And Martin Freeman is getting
too.
into more stuff. So when your 2 main stars are getting put in Hollywood blockbusters, they really don't have time to be making Sherlock.
Yeah.
So
Like,
I will gladly wait on the 4th season of Sherlock to have Benedict be Doctor Strange.
right?
Just saying. That's my little tangent.
Yeah.
That being said,
that makes a fair point.
that being said, we're getting a Christmas special this year, and then we won't get season 10 until next year, 2017.
Which we're not sure what part of the year, so we could even be waiting till fall 2017.
Oh Lord, I hope not.
Yeah, that's
Hopefully be back in like like it used to
Easter
be.
Saturday.
Easter Saturday.
Easter
I
Saturday.
think
Come on, Sean.
thought I
Easter
read
Saturday.
somewhere one of the numerous articles that I think they were going to try to keep it to a spring release, but I'm not 100% sure. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
And
soon enough.
again, we
heard,
can't.
I heard it's spring 2017, and then I don't know about after that.
Yeah. And again, we can't really fault them for it because, one, Steve Moffat's going to be working on season 4 of Sherlock, and then come summer, we have the Summer Olympics, the spring, and going into early summer, the UK is going to be up in Bunting for the Queen's 90th birthday celebrations.
Right,
Like
that's right.
The palace has said that the Queen's celebrations are going to go for like 3 months. For the Queen's birthday, so
this is Britain. This is how Britain prioritizes things. Because I was talking to my fiance Jared about this, because this year is Star Trek's 50th anniversary, and they're really not getting a whole lot. And then I think about Doctor Who. I'm getting on the tangent too. I think about Doctor Who and their 50th anniversary, and it was like a big party for a whole year for Doctor Who's 50th. So, like, the Queen taking three months to celebrate her 90th birthday in Britain, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. This is how Britain parties.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they do things.
Exactly. Well, in the meantime, there is a
the
metric
Radio Times
ton
article is saying spring 2017 for series 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
And still no word of
And then
when we're
Jarvis'
going to get a new
debut
companion.
series will be sometime 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not losing Moffat immediately. He's still got one. He's got a Christmas special and one more season to go. So, yeah.
Yep. And somewhere in there, we're going to get a new companion.
Yes.
So, we don't know when.
I am surprised that we still haven't heard. I mean, they probably still have the cast.
Well,
Yeah.
And this also works out well for them to take the time to get the new companion, and also for Peter Capaldi, because I know in the off season, not long after they finished filming the season, that Peter ended up having to have knee surgery. He had to have the same knee surgery that Matt Smith had to have.
yeah.
Apparently, it's a chronic Time Lord injury running around the TARDIS.
Yes. So that'll give him time to
apparently
recuperate.
it's all the stopping and starting.
Yeah.
It's like basketball.
Yeah.
Because basketball players routinely have knee problems, and it's because, all that running and starting and stopping. So it's like it's the same thing when they're filming Doctor Who. I know that's a weird analogy to make, but I played basketball.
Mm.
I personally didn't have
It's actors getting an athletic injury because they do the similar things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I know it's a weird analogy to make, but it's like it's where my thought process went, because I mean, I knew so many people. My brother was one of them. He had to have after his senior year of high school playing basketball, he had to have knee surgery on both knees because they were just gone.
Mm.
I mean, like he was walking around after basketball season, his last season, he was walking around like an old man. So we teased him. We shouldn't have, but we did.
Yeah. 3 years of color guard. My knees are never. I've got 90-year-old knees.
So, yeah. So anyway, but in the meantime, there is plenty of Big Finish.
Yes.
Plenty of Big Finish, and as we were mentioning before show, all our other shows that we now have time for.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll finally get around to watching Arrow and Flash.
And now Legends of Tomorrow.
And Legends of Tomorrow.
And Legends of Tomorrow. And Shannara. And what else do we have? I don't know.
The X-Files.
Mountain.
Who else has watched Legends of Tomorrow?
I have.
Oh.
Is Rip Hunter not the Doctor?
Yes. The Doctor. So there's your Doctor Who fix. Watch Legends of Tomorrow. You got it.
I mean,
even has Arthur Darvill in it. He's the main character.
A time traveler who goes rogue from a time policing organization and travels in a time
with a long coat and is British.
And he gets the Doctor, except he does use a gun. So,
well, this is also
he's got this cool little laser pistol.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anyway, so you've got plenty, and if you haven't caught up on Librarians, some people haven't. I'm probably go watch that. I mean,
there's plenty. There's plenty
plenty
to keep you
yes,
occupied.
We'll miss Doctor Who, but we're not totally bereft, so it's okay, people.
Yeah.
We will get through this. This is your support group.
Yes. Which is a nice segue because there's also Doctor Who books.
Yeah, speaking of Doctor Who, the February poll for the Traveling the Vortex Doctor Who Book Club is up and running. Cast your votes now. The 4 books up on the poll is The Drostan's Curse by A.L. Kennedy, which is a 4th Doctor book. And then our 3 12th Doctor books from last month are also up for voting. Deep Time by Trevor Beckinsale, The Big Bang Generation by Gary Russell, and Royal Blood by Wanda McCormick. And you have until the end of the month to vote.
We will find ways to entertain ourselves.
The Drostan's Curse is in the lead. 3-2-1.
Yeah, so that was in the lead when I cast my vote, and that's what I voted for.
Yep.
I thought a 4th Doctor book would be fun, so.
Yeah. I have a copy of that already, but I don't know where it's gone.
Ooh.
I have to find it by the beginning of February.
You got a week.
Yeah.
Blame the Vortex.
I have a week.
Yep.
I think it's in this mess of books on the floor beside my bed. So I'll start there.
Well, let us know when you're going to go look for it so that when we don't hear from you for a while, we know that we know where you are. That way we know where to send the National Guard. Or I guess in your case, the Mounties. To come rescue.
The main issue is going to be taking the books that are there and piling them on my bed instead of the floor and hoping that
your bed doesn't collapse.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty sturdy bed.
Well, that's
so
good.
It's going to be fine.
First world problems.
Yeah.
Bookworm problems.
I finished this month's book this past week, so I just need to get a review up on the Goodreads page.
Come join us on Goodreads. It'll help pass the time until Doctor Who comes back.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
which I am hoping to be a full participant in again come this spring.
Yeah.
I've missed it.
Which this month's book, one of the stories is her losing her children, her losing the children to the plague.
That was a toughie to read.
Yeah, and the worst of parts are ripped out. That is, we only get the dates and none of the text. of what she wrote on those days. Because the parts that we just get dates are when they're actually suffering. Anyway.
Yeah. Moving on.
Go vote in the poll.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Vote. Oh, you can't vote often, can you?
Nope, only one vote.
Say vote.
One vote.
Only vote.
You can vote early, but not often.
One vote.
But vote early anyway.
Yeah.
Yep, because you can change your mind. You can change your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, that's it for news. This week we actually have feedback.
Yes.
Feedback. We got some feedback. Yada da da da. Jazz hands.
Yeah.
That was me covering the Vortex theme song. And apologies to Sean. I might not have done it very well.
So
You did a fine job.
Yes, you do.
our feedback, it's short, but it's feedback nonetheless. So it comes from our pal Who Brannigan. This came via the Twitter. So he was listening to our episode from last week. And Who Brannigan says, "That's a great tribute episode you have done. I'm listening to it right now. Actually, the main thing I remember Alan Rickman for prior to Harry Potter is a particular song. Look up something called The Bell by Mike Oldfield." And then I actually found it on YouTube, and I put the link in here. I'll put the link for that in the notes for the show. And I did listen to it, and it's different. It's considered like progressive rock. I mean, it's not anything bad. It's actually kind of catchy.
Yeah, it is.
I listened to it like right before we saw the podcast. I was like, huh.
Yeah, it's quite catchy. It was. I was listening to it, and I knew somewhat what to expect with it, as far as Alan Rickman's involvement in it, but at the same time, when I heard his voice, there was part of me that's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little sad. Alan. Got me a little choked up. But yeah, like I said, I'll post the link to it in the show notes, and you can go. Because if you just go on YouTube and look for it, there's several different versions. I guess that's kind of the thing with this song is there's different recorded versions, and then there's live versions, and some of them have notable figures in it, and some of them there's just random people. So it's different, but it's catchy. So I will give it that. It's not anything terrible as far as, I guess, experimental progressive type music goes. But thank you, Hugh Brannigan, for the feedback and the little, I guess, tip. Little media tidbit, I guess, for that. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on to this week's topic, which was a bright, shining, enjoyable light in lieu of everything that happened in the week leading up to last Tuesday. So, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but Peggy Carter is back.
Yes.
And kicking butt.
And so is Jarvis.
And poor Jarvis.
Oh, that flamingo. Bernard!
Bernard Stark, the flamingo.
That was just
Pink devil.
Pink devil.
The pink
yeah,
devil.
that's something like that.
The devil in pink.
Devil
in
The
pink.
devil in
That's it.
pink.
And I have to say, I'm liking Mrs. Jarvis.
I am too. It was funny because she was like, "What were you expecting? a female version of my husband or whatever she said. And I was like,
Yeah,
Yes.
actually.
yeah, kind of.
Well, and then my other shock was like,
basically.
that's Gillis from Outlander. Wait a minute.
That's who it is. I kept looking at her. I'm like, I know you from somewhere. Your voice sounds familiar. I
I'm just
don't
like,
know who you are, though.
Should I be liking you or should I not be liking you? But I'm winning in the like column.
Yeah.
Yes.
In this case,
Yeah. Outlander,
No,
not so much.
Mrs.
Agent
Jarvis.
Carter? Yes,
Mrs. Jarvis is the yin to Jarvis's yang, and is quickly becoming Peggy's new BFF.
Yes.
Yes. At first, I was a little worried. I was like, okay, now is she going to be
Like jealous or something?
jealous?
Like,
Or,
nope.
you know, but they're like, nope, they're buddies, and I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she
When
helps. She helps.
Especially when she's just like, oh, here.
Yeah.
Garter and doubles as a holster. I like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll keep you around. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, and like Peggy came out almost literally came out the door swinging. When the first
You're enough
episode
to
of the
it,
season.
yeah.
I mean, she had a gun in her hand, so she wasn't swinging quite right off the bat, but pretty darn close. So she's not slowing down from the end of last season, but not that she's really had a choice, because Dottie, Psycho Dottie, was still on the loose. Apparently that fall Dottie took did nothing for her psyche whatsoever.
I think
No.
it rattled a few more screws loose.
The Red Room programming apparently does not get knocked out when someone takes a fall. Although other than the opening segment, and then when Dottie tried to choke Sousa.
Yeah, poor Sousa.
Or not Sousa, but yeah.
The real kind of jerky guy that you still kind of have to like anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Yes, him.
I couldn't think of his last name. It's like Jack something. Thompson. Gotten used to calling people either by their first name or last name, not full names. Like, I can only commit part of your name to my memory. So, no, Sousa is in charge of the West Coast division of the SSR.
Which explains why, in all the promos and stuff, we're like, oh, Peggy is in California now.
Mm-hmm.
How? Why? What's going on?
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. So, because I think she'd need to end up out there eventually, because she's there later in her life. If you've seen Ant-Man,
Yes, that's right.
so she would have ended up out there eventually. Just we didn't know it was going to be that soon, and whether she stays out there is yet to be determined. But again, there's a intrigue and murder and spy and espionage and a little bit of romance. Everything we expect from Agent Carter. So she gets pulled out to California to help Sousa with a murder case. Frozen body in a lake in the middle of summer in California. And the lake is partially frozen over too. And the body glows.
Which, after
I thought that was
watching Agents
cool.
of S.H.I.E.L.D., we know this is a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a
That it's glowing.
bad thing. Bad thing. So, I mean, there's... After having season 1 of Agent Carter and all these seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you didn't know, you would look at it and be like, oh, there's this whole thing with Dottie, and then there's this whole thing out in California, and they could almost be separate storylines, but they're not. They're completely connected. And then they connect to the larger universe.
Yeah.
Which we learned that by the end of the first episode. Like, oh.
Yeah. Well, partway through the first episode, I'm like, okay, so are these going to be two separate like storylines with Dottie in New York and the SSR there, or like how is all this? And then by the end of the first episode, it's like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah,
I'm not worried anymore.
No, which is what we expect. Which is what we've come to expect from Marvel. That it seems like there's all these little threads, but eventually you know that the camera's going to pull back and we're going to see the entire needlework and realize that it's just one big picture. So, because there's a secret organization that may or may not be Hydra.
I looked. Well, when I saw it, are you talking about the thing with the lapel pin?
Yeah,
right?
The thing with the lapel pin.
I was looking at it, and there was one shot. It was in the second episode where I was like, "Oh my gosh, that looks like the Hydra logo." And I was like, "Oh, that's got to be a pre." It was just like the way the angle was on the pin. It was when it was in the second episode when Peggy was looking at it, and there's like she turned it a certain way, and she's like, "I've seen this before," and I'm like, "It's Hydra. Wait, is it?" And then
that's like what I was thinking too,
because it looked like it for a minute, and I was like, "Okay, I see where this is going." I don't know that they meant that to happen, but that's what happened.
Yeah, because it looks like an A.
Yeah, when you first see it.
So it's like, well, no, Hydra doesn't start with an A, but it could be Hydra, a branch off of Hydra. It could be a completely different organization that we're not aware. Although the chances of not being Hydra, I think, are really slim to none in this universe. Yeah. In this Hydra. Particular universe.
Yeah.
Especially considering the object involved.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
If this isn't Hydra, there's at least someone in that group that has ties to Hydra. They have to.
Yes.
Or somebody is going to be introduced that has ties to Hydra. They have to. I'd be really, really surprised if Hydra doesn't get involved at some point throughout the season. I mean, there's enough. What I said something in the chat, like, what is this, a meeting of the middle-aged character actors club?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of familiar faces in here. They're all older gentlemen. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just, you get used to, you watch stuff and you see the same faces over and over again. Like, hey, I know you from something. You look somewhat familiar, but I'm blanking on I'm blanking on the name of what the stuff is, what they called in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In here they're calling it Zero Matter.
Zero Matter.
But I can't remember what it was called on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. I'm blanking on it. I have to go all the way back to season 1.
I saw it and I was like, oh, it's not the monolith? What is that?
No, it's the... Oh, drats, hold on. Yeah, really. I forget what it was called. In the comic universe, it's called Dark Force.
Okay.
But I can't remember what it's called on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh. Anyway, you have to go back to season 1 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we know all about we've seen this swirly.
They said something about a Kree stone. Like, that's the only thing I could see
Yeah, because it does act somewhat like the monolith, where but unlike the monolith, where it's solid and turns liquid, this is always liquid, if not gassy, gaseous,
Gaseous,
gaseous, and it eats everything. in the film that Peggy was shown, that it ended up just eating everything. But this also helps tie into eventually. So pay attention, kids, because what we're seeing with Agent Carter will be very important when Doctor Strange comes out in November.
So here we go, guys.
Mm-hmm. It's all connected. I love it.
Isn't it always?
It is always. So, but in the meantime, Peggy's got murders to figure out, and unfortunately, by the end of the second episode, this thing has gotten loose out into the public. Although it's found a home.
Temporarily.
In the head of someone who really doesn't probably need to have that in her head to begin with, because she was a little cuckoo to begin with. So
she is like I when we first met her, and the thing is about Agent Carter, the whole show is like it's about, like it's obvious who you would think the people you should be paying attention to are. Mm-hmm. Like, the agents at the SSR, or Peggy, obviously, or, Howard Stark, or all of them. But it's like the idea behind the Black Widow program is like they use the people that you don't notice
mm-hmm.
to infiltrate and cause problems for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like, you wouldn't think that like Dottie is a problem, or even this actress who's the wife.
Gravatorium?
Yes.
Gravitanium?
Yes, that is it. It's got several different names depending on what you're reading or watching.
Mm-hmm.
It's the dark swirly stuff that you don't want to you don't want to mess with, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, you're right. Like Dottie, you wouldn't have expected her to be, 1940s Black Widow.
Yeah.
So it really, at this point, other than, I'd like to say other than obvious people like Jarvis, and hopefully Jarvis's wife, and Howard Stark whenever he decides to pop up, because we haven't seen Howard yet. He's going to. We know he is, but he hasn't popped up yet. That really anyone could be a suspect to be a bad person, like Sousa's girlfriend, soon to be fiance. She may end up she may end up being someone completely nice, and she just happens to be Sousa's girlfriend and a nurse, and that's fine. But at the same time, you're like,
yeah. So it's like, pay attention to the people that
turn out to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm like, please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't be a bad guy.
Yeah.
Even though part of me's like, oh, I kind of ship Peggy and Sousa, but I don't know.
Before as friends, so I'm perfectly fine.
Well,
Sousa having a girlfriend. So, but that's me.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'm not. It's not like this isn't like my Captain Swan ship. Like I will go down this ship. I'm just like, oh, I like them together.
It's one of those. It would be nice if they got together, but it's not necessary.
It is totally not necessary, but it's still it'd be cool if they did.
It's one of those. It would be nice, but oh well. Yeah.
Yep. And then there's the people that we know are
friends, like really good friends. But I have no desire to see anything more between Sousa and Peggy.
Yeah.
So,
But Sousa is a cool guy.
Sousa is a cool guy.
Will not take that away from him. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He was rather surprised when Peggy showed up to help him out.
I know, and I was like, oh,
he tried to cover that though. He's like, I thought you weren't coming till tomorrow.
Yeah. They saved.
Like,
good one, dude.
Like, yeah, Thompson didn't bother to call you, did he?
Well, of course he wouldn't, because he's
because Sousa just requested an agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Thompson thought, hey, this is a good way to get Peggy off my hands.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Me thinks Thompson, I think, is still a little intimidated.
And didn't communicate to Sousa that Peggy was the agent he was sending.
Right.
Well, I mean, he wanted someone good. I mean, of all the agents he could have been sent, Peggy is the best agent to be sent. And I know she was upset because she had Dottie right where she wanted her, but obviously, this thing with Dottie is tied to whatever this thing is, what Peggy's investigating anyway. So I think she's going to end up killing two birds with one stone eventually. But I think me thinks Thompson is a little intimidated still.
Yeah, Thompson thinks
by Peggy.
Yeah, Thompson thought him sending Peggy to Sousa was going to be her downfall. Yeah, he's got another thing coming.
No.
Yeah.
Not really. Not at all.
Although, that one conversation that the one guy had with Thompson about SSR is like going the way of the dinosaur because we're not at war anymore. Like, they're setting up S.H.I.E.L.D. They're setting up for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, they are.
Like, yeah, what do you mean we're not at war anymore? Please. We may not officially be at war, but
they're
Hydra
transitioning from a wartime reserve organization to a government department in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. No. Hydra is still out there, so they're not, it's not like they can sit back and twiddle their thumbs or whittle wood or something.
Yes.
Until something pops up. And that guy is questionable on... He just may be a bureaucratic jerk, actually. So.
Yeah.
No. What was his name? I know the actor.
That's why I did it.
Yeah.
That's why I said the guy that was talking to Thompson.
Yeah. Vernon Masters. And Thompson only said his name like once, so it's not something that stuck with you.
You can understand why I didn't remember.
Yeah. Until he pops up again and we keep hearing his name again and again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. It's like, you got
that guy.
Yeah.
The guy that did the thing with the other thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing.
Yeah. And again, he's one of those like actors that you see him in everything. I can't tell you what his name is, but I know what I've seen him in. He was the dad on that 70s show, and he was also the dad in Dead Poet Society.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't think of it.
Yeah, we're all like, that guy.
As soon as I tried to think of it, I forgot it. So, it's like that one movie is Chauncey's like favorite movie in the world. Although I bet he couldn't even tell you what the actor's actual name is.
Well, that's what IMDb is for.
Exactly.
Yes. What did we do before the internet?
I not remember people's
didn't
names.
Fact check as much. That's what.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
We actually had to memorize information.
Yeah.
Or look it up in books.
Yeah. Heaven forbid.
In my day, television was called books. And that's what the internet was, kids.
Like, see, this is an Encyclopedia Britannica. This is what Wikipedia used to be.
Yep. I was actually looking at Encyclopedia back from the 70s, wow, this is so out of date.
Oh yes, looking at all those. Anyway.
All the stuff it doesn't have.
So, question.
Answer.
Do you guys think that Peggy's pseudo boyfriend or her scientist friend here, Wilkes, is actually dead, or is he potentially still alive?
This is what I think, and I just barely came up with this theory, so it's probably really, really bad. So he and Whitney Frost,
yes.
Yeah, the actress lady, they were standing there when Zero Matter went kaboom and bad things happened. So I kind of and I also watched Legends of Tomorrow this week with Firestorm, and that superhero is two guys who merged together to be one thing. I think that Wilkes and Frost are kind of merged in a similar way, and the Zero Matter is holding them together, so it's they're going to end up having this weird split personality thing pop up here pretty quick. I just said it was a cracked out theory, and the only reason I think that is because she survived, or we are led to believe she survived and he didn't. But I'm but why did she survive and he didn't? That's just what's the explanation? So I'm coming up with an explanation. Now, next week's episode, I may totally be wrong, but it'll be interesting if that is the case, because she was all oh, we've got to keep this research going there's no real reason that we're given why she wants this research to continue, because her husband is perfectly happy, continuing to run for Senate at the behest of shadowy organization number 46. But she's no, we've got to you've got to research the Zero Matter, and we don't know why. So I'm and then Wilkes is was all, this is dangerous, no one should touch it. I'm going to give it to Peggy to keep, to do, what they do with it. And so it's they're working at opposite ends, or they're at odds. Their ends are at odds with each other. And so it's okay, who's going to be in charge here? Who's going to go first? So if that's sort of my theory. I may be wrong, and I'm fully prepared to be wrong, but there you go.
Mm. I think what you think happened to him, your opinion on Wilkes's fate may also play into your feelings on whether you hurt his and Peggy's potential relationship. If you like them together, then you kind of want him to survive.
Well, it's not necessarily that I want them together, although I did like where that was going. Mm-hmm. I also like him as a character, so I don't want him. It's we just met him. Yeah. Why would you kill him off now?
You weren't sure at first. Are you a good guy or a bad guy? Are you a scientist and you had no idea that people that you work for are a bunch of terrible people bent on taking over the world, type people. He seemed like a nice enough guy, and I kind of liked him and Peggy together. So again, it's kind of like her and Sousa. It's I like them together. I don't think it would actually go anywhere or be any sort of long-term thing. But hey, Peggy deserves to be.
And even poor Sousa, when he got the call that from Jarvis that Peggy was in trouble, and they found her car and there was bullet casings and the tires had been slashed, and he was all worried about her and everything, and I'm was like, whichever way this relationship goes, if they're friends, if they, become a couple, whatever, I like that there is somebody looking out for Peggy like that. I mean, yeah, Jarvis does it, and he's wonderful. I don't know. I like the way Sousa looks out for her too. So I don't know. I like that Peggy's got people that have her back, even though sometimes she feels like she has to do it all on her own because she has something to prove. And it's like, well, like Jarvis and Sousa, they don't feel like she has to prove anything to them. She's their friend, and she, they care about her. They're concerned for her, and they want to get to help her. Even though, yeah, she's totally capable of taking care of it herself, but it's good to have backup.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, poor Peggy.
I just love that Peggy's back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We get, I don't know, 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes into the first episode. I'm like, oh, I missed you. Peggy, yes. I missed you. Oh, Jarvis, I missed you too. Mm-hmm. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Like, I missed you most of all.
Mm-hmm. And pay no attention to that flamingo in the back seat.
Flamingo? She gets off the plane and Jarvis is there to meet her.
Well, it's like she gets off the plane and she's staring at something, and you're like, "What is this?" I know this is a Howard Stark funny thing, and it turned out, and it's a flamingo. I'm like, of course, it's a flamingo. And poor Jarvis chasing it around the yard. Like, yep.
Howard Stark doesn't deserve someone like Jarvis.
No.
Jarvis is just, he's so loyal, and he's so happy to be there, and it's so wonderful.
That's the thing, is we laugh so much at Jarvis, but if you look at the situations that Jarvis gets into, it's Tony with Happy. Yeah. And you see that Tony and Happy is exactly Howard and Jarvis.
And to an extent, Pepper.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know who Howard's analog for Pepper is. Maybe it's Maria when she when he finally meets her or something. I don't know, but it's just like, okay, Howard.
There's some cute stuff with Bernard the Flamingo on Tumblr, and that with baby Tony and Bernard planning stuff against Jarvis.
And I think I saw that. I think I saw that.
I haven't been on Tumblr for so long. I need to go now to see that.
And then there's Bernard might even have his own Twitter feed. I'm not sure if it's not too surprising or somebody created it, but
I'm sure somebody created it.
Now I need to find this.
I tell you what, I mean, Agent Carter in itself is awesome, and we don't expect anything less from the people that brought us Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and from stuff from the Marvel Universe, because they write it so well and they cast it so well. But I don't know about you guys, but it may seem like I was somewhat kidding, but really I'm not. But I think Peggy coming back was, I don't know if it was maybe just seemed more funny or more like, oh, I missed you, I've forgotten how amazing you were type thing. But after, the show that we had last week and everything, that it just seemed like, yes, this is what I needed. After this month that we've had, this is exactly what I need. This is what the doctor ordered.
Yep. I found Bernard, the Flamingo's Twitter. It is Bernard Stark at Flamingo Bernard. And I am now following him. Well, there's another one that's Bernard _Stark, and the A is a 4. But I think this Flamingo Bernard is the one I'm looking for.
And I don't know about you guys, but I think that Peggy will probably have a thing or two to say to Howard once he does show up about his choice in automobile accessories.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was weird.
The drinks I can understand.
Yep.
There's like 4 different Bernard Stark Twitter accounts for the
That does not surprise me.
Gotta love all fiddle people.
Yeah. Well, if there could be a Twitter account for emo Kylo Ren, there can be a Twitter account for Bernard Stark, the flamingos.
Well, there was emo Kylo Ren, very lonely Luke, and then there was one that makes fun of George Lucas. Now I cannot remember. Angry George Lucas or Grumpy George Lucas.
There's a dad Han Solo as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, and if you search the word emo in the Twitter search bar, emo Kylo Ren is like the first thing that comes up.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yep. Peggy's back.
Peggy's back, and our lives are
better
more
for
complete than they were before. Although, I still need season 1 on Netflix so I can show it to Jared, because he's only seen 3 episodes, and this shall not stand.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still on ABC? Is it still on ABC.com?
Probably not. I'm sure it's gone by now. I'm looking it up now. Watch Marvel's Agent Carter, ABC Go. What do you have for me, friend? Nope, just season 2, which I can get on Hulu.
Darn.
Blah. Although, can we talk about how Dottie was dressing up as Peggy at the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I was like, okay, Dottie, now you've just gone too far.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who we haven't mentioned that I
Who?
really like? Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
She was the telephone operator, the one telephone operator from season 1.
Now she's the receptionist.
Now she's the receptionist for the front for the access.
The talent agency.
Which this is so much more.
Wrong.
This is so much more entertaining than the phone company.
Yes.
People are like
the audition that was going on with your
The tap dancing girls. Oh, God.
and like,
Who's
we
the
do
clown?
nothing to advertise our sign is faded. Our address is wrong, and yet they still find us.
I think it's a thing with Hollywood is people auditioning for things just wander around and they say, "Oh, talent agency." They walk in and they just do their thing.
Yeah.
And they're
Or later when Sousa walks in the room and he's like, "Who's the clown?" It's an actual clown.
so that as dark and dire as anything gets this season, I think they're still going to just throw in a few of those jokes. And you know what? I bet you that's what the Stan Lee cameo is going to be this season. Is some random person walking into the talent agency.
I hope there's another. I hope we get another Stanley cameo. We haven't gotten a second one in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's true.
But if Stan was in the Dub Smash, then if he was around, then maybe we got better odds that Stan will make a cameo. It may be a little easier for Agent Carter because it's a short season.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's a little more like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is it's like knee deep in this in the Inhuman storyline they're doing. Agent Carter, it's a serious storyline, but it's a little bit more. I don't want to say loose, but I can't think of another word to think of. It's not quite as strict. It's a little bit more. It seems like a little more lighthearted.
It's almost. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, Agent Carter's just like. it's Agent Carter is literally more colorful than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's almost like a comic book.
Yeah. I mean, they picked her up and moved her out to California for this season, so it's
which
like...
I'm loving. That's like my favorite era as far as like architecture and clothing. Oh, I want to steal all the costumes. I want them all.
And Peggy just seems to fit in that era and that whole...
And the cars.
The cars and the clothes. Like, I loved her red dress that she had in the first... Was it the first episode it was there? I kind of... The two episodes blurred together. I was looking at it, I'm like, I want that dress. I would not look as good in that dress as you do, but I want that dress.
Well, there's another one she wears that's kind of like a eggplant.
Of course, I want a red hat
too. So, yeah, I want all of Peggy's wardrobe. I just love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The lady knows how to dress. That is for darn sure.
Well, and Haley Atwell is built for the time period too. She can pull it off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
More power to her. If she wants to throw something my way, I won't say no. It probably need to be seriously altered, but I will take it. I already have plans for a Peggy Carter cosplay. It's not anytime soon, but it's on the list now. The more I look at Peggy, I'm like, yes, I need to cosplay you soon. All right. Well, anything else?
I think we hit the highlights. Mm-hmm. Peggy's back. There are shenanigans afoot, and Bernard the flamingo.
Mm-hmm. 2 episodes down, 8 more to go.
There's 10 this season?
What it says.
Oh, okay. I will not complain.
It's supposed to go till March 1st.
For some reason I was thinking there were 8 total, and I thought we were.
It looks like 10. It's supposed to go till right before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back. So.
Okay. All right.
Which is good.
Good deal. I'll probably miss a bunch of it in February, but I can catch up when I get back.
Yeah. And a side note, I don't know if it's up online, hopefully they put it up there, but if not, I'm sure you can find it somewhere in those deep, dark, pirated, not that I'm condoning piracy, but it is out there. But somewhere there on the internet, if you didn't catch the Captain America special that was on beforehand, watch that too, because that was really good.
That was really good.
I'm checking. I guess I would have seen it if it was on Hulu, but I'm gonna double check again to make sure.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna miss it, and I was mad.
Captain America 75 Heroic Years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Is it on Hulu?
It's on Hulu.
It's definitely worth the watch.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Really you like comic book history and just regular history. It's really, I don't know, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah.
I think it's still on the DVR.
ABC and Marvel, if you want to keep doing stuff like that, when you hit anniversaries, go right on ahead. Because we had that Marvel one.
Anniversaries, I went on.
Yeah. I like it.
Hey, I'm not complaining. These are just, they're fun to watch. Again, I totally missed it because, well, I don't have TV. I have Hulu and I have Netflix. And whatever I can find on iTunes, it's affordable. So anyway, yeah, I will definitely be watching this when I get a minute. So anyway, dear listeners, listening people out there, if you want to chime in about your thoughts on Agent Carter or anything Marvel or anything that we talk about, the news or whatever, just want to say hi. We'd love to hear from you, and you can send us feedback at our various forms of social media, Facebook, Twitter, but those are all linked to on our website at the 5ishfangirlspodcast.blogspot.com. And you can get in touch with us there. Follow us on Facebook. Like I said, we post a lot about news and random funny things, or just things of interest. There, that seems to be the place where we do the most of it. But also our Tumblr and Pinterest and Instagram, and follow and subscribe to us on iTunes. And also donate, if you can, to Patreon. And we thank our Patreon supporters, as we do every week, because that allows us to continue to bring these squeeful, lovely shenanigans to your listening ears on a weekly basis. So we appreciate that. And also follow us on YouTube, because sometimes we get some things up there as well. We put our podcast there as a backup to iTunes. It's good to have a backup. And if you send us feedback, email us, tweet us, Facebook us, we will probably read your feedback out on the podcast. So, like we did Who Brannigan today, and we thank Who Brannigan for your feedback. That was very lovely to see. We love seeing that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
All our listeners are awesome.
Yes, they are. Our listeners, our Facebook followers, our Twitter followers. So we love you all.
Yep.
You're all awesome. All right. Well, with that, unless we have anything else, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Beverly saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City saying goodnight.
This is Holly in Wisconsin. Good evening.
Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Is that a mirror? Been listening to the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.